Hi, and you're welcome back to The Simple Creative, a podcast that helps you to start up something from nothing. I'm your very special and amazing host, Oladimeji Ajegbile, and today I am joined by Akinlolu Oluwaseun. He's a fashion content creator and a fashion stylist. We talk in detail about finding one's personal style, the confidence in learning from others, and building a brand with influence.
Fashion first starts from comfort. You need to look for what makes you actually comfortable first.
Okay.
If this shirt is not comfortable for me, I won't wear here. So you need to first look for what makes you comfortable. Then next, you need to look for what suits your personal style. You need to streamline it to your personal style. What do you actually like? I've always seen you wearing t-shirts. I know, okay, I already that is your personal style. You shouldn't change it for anything if that's what you actually like. So that's how it should be.
This podcast remains advertisement free thanks to a small group of persons on Patreon and on Anchor. And if you'd also love to join this set of people to support the Simple Creative Podcast, just go to patreon.com/Dimeji or anchor.fm/Dimeji. Again, it is patreon.com/Dimeji or anchor.fm/Dimeji. If you're too lazy to actually go to this website right now, just click the link in the description and you'll get there. And that being said, enjoy the podcast. So I remember in June 2019, I reached out and I wanted you to be on the podcast. And that was like one of the first times I was exploring and trying to see creatives in Ibadan. And, when I searched Ibadan on, Instagram search now, it brought out you and a couple of other persons. And the first place I saw a picture was Trans Amusement Park. And I'm like, wait, this guy's in Ibadan. And then I saw your collaborations with Wilson Lemonade and, it really interested me. And I'm like, I have to have this guy on the podcast. So, what do you do basically?
Yeah, so I'm a fashion content creator and I'm also a fashion stylist. That's what I do basically.
All right. Well, I think I have an idea that you studied architecture, right?
Yeah, I studied architecture.
So how did you come about that shift? When did that happen?
Okay, so everything started from my second year in school. I've always been a fashion person from my first year though. I've always been a fashion person, but from second year, I don't know. Probably, should I say that's when I knew that architecture wasn't just it. Yeah, so from my second year in school, I started losing interest in architecture gradually. So then I now took fashion more seriously. Even my dad noticed. I started taking fashion more seriously and that's how I started.
Well, how interesting is it? Like, did your study of architecture sort of contribute to what you're doing right now?
Yes, because if you check one of my names is a style architect, so it's kind of added to the whole thing.
We'll come to that later. Okay. There has to be some sort of story behind that.
Okay,
but Ibadan is one really interesting place to be in, and let's just leave some of the buts on one side. What are those good things you've seen in Ibadan? Because when I first, decided to settle down in Ibadan and start creating content, it was one of the hardest decisions I could ever make because I was struggling between the buzz of Lagos and then there's this sort of places people naturally gravitate towards, like Lagos, Abuja. And I remember after NYSC, I ran to Lagos to go and set up. And in the first 2 weeks, I spent almost half of my savings doing an ultra NYSC in 2 weeks in Lagos. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't live this kind of life. I know you shop fully Ibadan and Lagos, but how do you see the creating sort of lifestyle in Ibadan?
To me, first, that's the first advantage I see in Ibadan is, firstly, you don't need to worry about traffic. Even me coming here, straight drive coming to get to this place, you don't need to worry about traffic. So getting to locations to shoot doesn't. In Lagos, you can wake up, you can plan to create probably by 12 o'clock, and before you get to your location,
it's like 2 p.m.
Like even 3 p.m. So all those things. Also, most people don't know, we have quite a lot of locations in Ibadan. You just need to explore. You need to. Most times I do that a lot. I just go around, drive around, explore, and see places I can use to create and all that thing. So I see that as like a major advantage.
Okay.
Yeah, in Ibadan.
All right. But would you advise anybody to settle down in Ibadan?
Yes, because I myself I won't settle down in Ibadan.
Oh,
I
awesome.
don't have time for stress. So,
I'm all for this sort of lifestyle where find a place that you know is convenient for you, and at the same time a place you know you can advise people to come to.
yeah.
Because I shoot a lot of podcasts in several locations, and going to Lagos to shoot has been one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. I remember last year September I was going to shoot with Salem King, and I left about around 10 a.m., which was like one of the first mistakes. I left 10 a.m. to shoot at 2 p.m., right, in VI. So getting to Lagos, I got to Lagos around 12 o'clock, and then I had to fly back from Bega straight to VI.
Wow.
Now, the interesting part was now that the person I was going to meet, who's in that area, left around 1, didn't get there until 3 with the kind of traffic it was. So I think one of those things I just mentioned now is the freedom to just move around. But still, Ibadan is becoming a little bit traffic, bound also, because you just wake up in the morning and then before you know it, like some areas are always packed. So I mentioned like some places in Ibadan that you're really convenient with shooting or making your videos, or like places you just naturally visit in Ibadan.
Okay. Sometimes I visit Agodi Gardens.
Okay.
Shoot at Agodi Gardens. Most times I use locations in UI, because even UI students, they don't know some locations I know.
Honestly.
Like there are really nice locations inside University of Ibadan, so I use those places a lot. And sometimes it depends on the kind of photographer I'm working with. Okay. Because that's why I like working with photographers that have like this same mindset that I have, like just to explore. Sometimes I shoot on the streets, like street fashion, that kind of stuff. So it doesn't have to be like a particular location. Anywhere I just see, okay, that this thing actually goes in line with what I'm trying to create.
Yeah,
I go for it.
Yeah, but what's like the thought process behind your the things you create? Because I remember the 007 shoot. That's like one of my favorites today. And every time I look back at that shoot, I'm like, wait, is this place actually in Ibadan? And many times you see these things online and then you're wondering, wow, this place looks nice. But then if you not get there in person, you're wondering, wait, how did this person convert this place to become this good?
Yeah.
But when you're seeing it in person, it sort of looks a little bit out of place. So what's your thought process behind finding locations and then getting that masterpiece out of everything?
Okay. So whenever I need to create something, most times I get inspiration from different places.
Yep.
So whenever I need to create something, I just eat up. I have different photographers I work with, so I just eat up the particular photographer I know, okay, can bring out the best of this. So then we get talking and see which location works. Like it's basically both of us trying to create, not just me.
Yeah.
Because he's going to post it too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's both of us just trying to create. So we brainstorm and see, okay, which location is good. Like the 007 shoot you talked about, the photographer that shot that was my Gregory Visuals, is my friend.
Okay. So
we discussed and we saw which place would be good for this thing. And that place, that's I don't know if you know Cultural Center at Mokola. Yeah, so that place used to be, it's not like the way it is now. It used to be very open. People hardly, because government has abandoned the place, so it's very free. So we just thought that, okay, we could do this thing here. And we made it happen. So that's how everything just came into place.
Okay, so how long did it take from that, idea conceiving or inception to thinking about the location and then eventually making this thing happen? Because I remember this video you made of how you put the 007 gun there, and how did that even happen? Like, what was the thought process behind that? Did you just wake up one morning and say, I want to shoot 007 style? Or it was after the shoot that now, got the inspiration that way? Can we just convert it into 007 shoot?
Okay, so at that point, because there are several times you get different content inspiration. So at that point, I wanted to recreate movies, like spectacular fashion inclined movies, like 007. Was this other movie again?
John Wick.
John Wick, yeah, okay. John Wick, all this one. So, but what really caught my attention the most was the James Bond 007. So I said, let me do that first. And I told you about talking to the photographer that we discussed and we chose the location and everything. So basically, I was looking for a gun, I was trying. I hit everybody up like, okay, please, do you know I can get a gun? Not like but all those toy gun that actually looks really
props,
yeah. So I needed it. I was looking for it. Up till even few minutes before the shoot, I was looking for it, but I didn't get. So I told the guy that, you know what, guy, let me do my hand like I'm shooting, and he will find a way of putting it in. But eventually he couldn't. He tried to make it look. Man, I just took my phone. I used the PixArt.
Okay.
And I made it happen, and it looked really. Even my brother was asking me, I was with you this day. There was no gun on it, so he didn't really even know that. So that's how that one happened. And you talked about the duration, yeah. The duration, because the photographer shuffles Lagos and Ibadan, so we've actually thought of doing it like 2 weeks before that time. So when he was around,
it was very easy.
Yeah, it was very easy to just, because we had all the plans on ground. So,
you know, most times the mundane things of this life that we think can't really make things happen, those are the things that actually make the best things happen. Because imagine, who would have thought after trying to look for a gun you didn't find, and then it was just I'm still trying to process it right now, because watching that video there, I was like, oh, more.
Because it's just one person that caught me. Just one. Because I was wondering, even after I posted it, I was looking at it. This thing doesn't look real. Because I was like, it was looking to me like this doesn't look real.
Yeah.
But everybody keep saying, wow, how did you get a gun? I was like, okay.
Let me show the process, right?
Yeah, so.
Wow. All right. So, do you like this idea where people feel all the stars have to align before they launch out with what they want to do? Because this is just a wild guess, but I don't think you had everything figured out when you started with what you're doing. When did it start to sort of look like it for you?
Okay, from your first question about like the stars, I feel when you have the drive to start something, just start. You have to. Most of the big people today started small. Yeah. Just start doing along the way. Everything will start coming together. So, you asked when it started becoming it for me. Yeah. Basically, when it started becoming it for me was from like 2018. That's when it started becoming for me. And I told you I started like 2016. So from like 2018, that's when it started becoming for me. When I first did a little campaign for Jumia. So that's when it started becoming it for me.
Well, since then till now, like, how's been the progress?
I can say the progress has been. It has been good. Every year it has been a different story. At least I've been working with better brands every year. So I know, yes, I've really grown.
All right, so let's just jump quickly into some quick questions from people on Instagram. So I did this Q&A on Instagram for people to ask you questions, and let's just go through some of these questions. All right, so there's this question here that says that okay, so you don't need to really rush it. Just think about it. Give yourself some sort of processing, no pressure. But there's this question here that says that when did you know it was time for you to start reaching out to brands for collaborations?
Okay, like I've said, you asked me when it was it for me. That was like 2018 when a friend sent me a link. Jumia was doing this Jumia Faves program. So I applied. And eventually they sent me a mail that they will send me some items and stuff. They didn't really pay me like with cash, but they paid me with products. So after that, I noticed that, and that's when I realized that people actually make money from what I've been doing just like normally. So that's when it started becoming. That's when I knew
you could start. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's when I knew I could start making money. So from then I started reaching out to brands. And from there, the whole story changed. Yeah. Wow. That's how it was.
But is it favorable? Like, does it favor you having to be the one to reach out to them? Because there's this sort of thing we see in our, current social space where, you see these big influencers and it's like, brands are chasing after them. But must it be that way? Can't it be like you going to them and say, I have this idea and I want to pitch it to you, and does it work that way?
It works that way because when it depends. Most times, some people you need to find a brand that aligns with. If you're a fashion person, but aligns with your personal style, or that aligns with what you plan creating at the moment. Do you get? So if you come across a brand that are creating pieces that you plan to create at that particular moment, or that goes with your personal style. There's nothing bad in you eating them up. I do that several times. I eat brands up, share my ideas. Let's create this, and we make it happen.
Wow.
So all those big influencers there are so many people that have brands reaching out to them.
Okay.
That actually don't go along. They actually don't go with their own personal style or what they want to create at that particular moment. And at the end, when they create something, it doesn't just
make sense.
Yeah. So most times it's better you reach out to a brand that aligns with what you want to do at that particular moment. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've been a victim of not every time anyway, because I'm not the brand sort of person like that, but I've had times when I genuinely I love some tech products from certain companies or organizations, and after using their products for a long time, right, and then I probably post on social media, I don't really tag them, but there was a particular one that I think maybe one of the workers of one of the people that work in that particular company saw one of the pictures I made about the product. It was just my deck setup, right? And then one of their products was there. And then they reached out and said, oh, can you do this and that and that and that? I will send you one of the new ones that we're making, and let's see, what do you think about it? Now, I realized that they didn't tell me to share on social media or anything. They just wanted my honest advice about it. And after I used the thing and it was really good, I was like, man, guys, this thing is good. I just told people about it on social media, and then they got more customers from there. And I'm like, that was good for me, because I enjoyed the product and I was compelled to share it. But then I see more of brands make this very silly mistake where you are reaching out to an influencer and then you're sending them pictures of your product, and then you tell them to probably post on social media. I'm like, does that work?
No. That's it. There are some brands that reach out to. There are some brands that have reached out to me. They'll say, okay, we want to send you social product. You are not, you don't have intention of paying. Okay. That means you are just giving me as a gift. If I post, fine, it's a favor for you. Do you get?
Yeah.
So if I post, fine. If I don't, that means you don't mind.
Okay.
So, but if you are coming to me with the intention of, we want to work with you, we want you to post social video, you styling this video in social. You get, so that there are two different things.
Okay.
Some brands are just there are brands that just want to send you gifts. Yeah, okay, it might actually post. Let's just give it that. They don't spend money.
All right.
Yeah, but I don't owe you any posting.
Okay.
Because you just came to me with the intention of giving me as a gift.
Okay. Wow. All right. Now the second question here is, so what inspired Style Architect? I know we mentioned a little bit about this, and then why is everything certified? Because I know your handle on Instagram is Akinlolu Certified, right? So yeah.
Okay, so let me start from the Style Architect. Okay, so from the first question you asked me when I was describing myself, I said I'm a fashion stylist, and I'm also. You asked me about school and everything. I finished in architecture. So joining both of them together, that's what brought the name the Style Architects. And shout out to the Style Infidel. Okay. He's one of the biggest stylists in Nigeria. It's like my uncle. Oh. So from its name too, that's why I was Style Infidel, the Style Architect. So that's how it kind of made more sense. So that's why, because I wanted to do like an internship with him one time, but I know I'm still going to do it. Not it might be any time sharp, but so
we'll be looking out for that.
Yeah.
All right. So why is everything certified?
Yeah. So certified. The name certified means you've been qualified for a particular position or something. Yeah. So I kind of before now, I probably in secondary school I used to have one nickname called Mayor Chefs and stuff like that. I still took the name to university. So at that point when I now started fashion, I now looked at it like, do I want to be bearing this name? Like, do I want people to if I actually go far with this thing I'm doing, do I want people to still be calling me Mayor Chef? So I sat down one day and just tried to look for a name that actually carries weight. that when even if I go far, I would like to just so that's where most people on Instagram will come with something official, and so I just love that certified, that I'm actually most things I do, I'm actually qualified for what I'm doing. So Akinlolu Certified. That's where it came together. So
that kind of gives a very interesting ring to it, like certified instead of all the. Because I see some persons with what they do is okay, like not all that, and then the person is like just someone who is upcoming. Not that I'm trying to bring anybody down, but someone who is just starting out, and then you have official already. So that means for you to have official, man, there has to be some sort of unofficial part. But then you don't see that, so it's like, okay, so where's the official coming from? So. All right, so now there's another question here that says, where do you get your most creative ideas from?
Most creative ideas I get from people that inspire me, mostly on social media. And now with the advent of Reels helps me a lot because I just keep scrolling and see inspirations every time. So Reels for picture inspirations, I check Pinterest. Pinterest, everybody uses Pinterest now. So I check Pinterest. And if it has to do with videos, YouTube, I check YouTube to search for inspirations too. Yeah.
But do you have a YouTube channel?
No, I don't.
Why not?
Probably I will start later, but for me right now, YouTube is kind of like stressful for me and what I'm doing. So I still prefer me dropping my normal Reels videos and stuff for now. But who knows? Later I might open a YouTube channel.
What if you consider doing like more of a behind the scenes, but then the behind the scenes would be for YouTube? So like, there's a different way you're covering how you're making your videos, and then that's what is going on because
on YouTube.
If you notice, then when TikTok was fast rising, when pandemic first became, serious, you notice that most people would post the real video, right? Maybe like 2 days after
post the behind the scenes.
The behind the scenes was up. And then I usually check. I noticed that the behind the scenes gets more views than the real video. I'm like,
because everybody wants to learn.
Yeah, because I'm like, wait, what's happening? How come the behind the scenes is getting more views than the video? So I think that might be nice.
Yeah.
Well, I know it might not be all that straightforward anyway, because how do you even make your videos? Let me even ask that. Okay.
So everything starts with a thought process. There are so many times because I use my notepad a lot.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a paid job for a brand.
Okay.
I scribble down something. Okay, type out. Okay, I'm going through this process. This is what I want to use for the first scene. This I want to do for so. So that's the first time the thought process. Then after that, I search for inspirations, like we said about earlier. Search for inspirations. I check out a few people's pages to see. If it comes to videos, there's this guy on Instagram called Mark Payne. I love his transitions and stuff, so I check out his page and say, okay, let me because there are sometimes I'm always blank on transitions, so I'll check out and say, okay, I can do this transition and stuff. So eventually everything just comes together. And the normal equipment, I don't use too much. My tripod, lights. Most times I make use of natural lighting.
Yeah.
So that's how I do it.
So to start out, you would suggest that you don't need too much, right?
That I don't need too much.
Like, people are all bent on I have to have the latest this, the latest that.
No, you don't need to have the latest gadget. Up to now, I don't have the even my phone. I use an iPhone 7.
Okay.
And I create good videos. So
yeah. Well, for you guys listening, you don't need too much, which is like the entire hallmark of this entire podcast, really, because one of the major advices that's come up on this podcast a lot of times is just go ahead and do what you need to do.
Yeah.
Eventually, all these things you need would come in play. Like, I started everything I'm doing with smartphones, right? Until, and I this is a little bit of push to start using cameras. And at the same time, I still feel very stressed using all these big gadgets because I'm like, it takes up more time, it takes up more taking care of, and then it increases my editing time.
Yeah.
So it just gives you so much headache because something you shot on the camera, you can't now go and be editing it on phone because you would really
even up to now I still edit on my phone because it's really fast.
Yeah,
for
like
me
it's mobile. Like, you can take it anywhere with you. Like, I can be in a cab and I'm getting things done. I can be in boat and things are happening. But then when you now start to change and start increasing, now you have to now be doing everything on laptop, which is so much other stress. Yeah, and when it comes to social media, right? Because your work is very much invested in that area. There's this fear of, this famous or popular social platforms, just going at any point in time. So how do you see, like, what do you think would be the effect of that when it happens?
On me?
On the entire fashion industry. Because Instagram made fashion blogging like perfect.
Yes.
Like so good. Because before, blogging on websites, on YouTube, it wasn't that fun because it takes up so much stress and many people don't really read all these places before. But now that from just one place you can see literally everything, style inspirations and all these things, right? Imagine if Instagram just dies in like tomorrow.
Okay. So I saw a post from you one time about this.
Yeah.
So since then I tried like opening other social media platforms, trying to make myself out there on other social media platforms. So I started posting more on my Twitter, and I'm already building a good audience there too. So I even opened TikTok. Which I said I didn't want to. I've started opening TikTok. I've started posting there. So, man, really, if Instagram should go down today, it's going to affect so many people. But still, that's why I would advise everyone to try to open up other social media platforms and keep pushing their content there too, so that at the end of the day you just put all your eggs in one basket and lose everything.
Honestly, because right now content creation is now the new, what's the word now, I think it's like now the only way to go, because everybody is a content creator in my own opinion. Like, there is that thing you just you know how to do, and putting it out there is like one really important thing. But then on the other hand, with the wave of be consistent, push out this, do that, and all those sort of encouragement that we keep seeing every single day, people telling you, consistency, 30 days, this and that, it gets overwhelming, because you are in this rat race of comparing yourself to that person that did it nicer and all these extra things. So do you deal with all this sort of overwhelm with Instagram particularly? Because Instagram bombs me out, I'm telling you. Like, yeah, I know I post a lot and I share this thing and I do that, but it gets to a point I was like, see, I'm not even doing it again. So how do you control it and not really let it get to you?
Okay, for me, I tend to take breaks sometimes. But consistency is good. That's why when it comes to consistency on social media, I feel consistency is relative.
Yeah.
Your own consistency might be you posting every day. You have it in mind to always post every day. You have it know that you want to keep posting every day because it works for you. My own consistency might be me just posting 3 times in a week. That is actually mine. I post 3 times in a week. I don't post more than that. Like feed posts, I post just 3 times in a week. Okay. So last, it depends on what works for you. It depends on what works for you will not be what will work for me. So with the way everything is, just try to like have some sort of experiment on your audience and try to know how, especially when posting, to try to know the time your audience are like actually active and everything, so that everything comes in sync. And with your rate of consistency, it won't still backfire.
Yeah.
So
increasing on social media is with the figures, it sounds great. Like, you're like, I have 9K followers, I have 10K followers.
I know people that post once in a week. Like, you're actually expecting their post, let's say Tuesday afternoon. You're actually expecting their post and it drops and it does numbers. Do you understand? Yeah. So that's why I said consistency is relative.
Yeah, it is. It is. And with the increase in these numbers, right? For me, the more my audience are increasing, the more anxiety I get, because I'm like, wow, now more persons get to see what I'm doing. And at the same time, like, that means I must not flop.
You must not flop.
So you're not in the middle, of wanting to, just be cool and be calm. But at the same time, you're like, we have people to, I wouldn't say people to please, but you have people to deliver this top-notch quality content for. And when you don't do up to the standard that you set for yourself, there are several standards. There is one you set for yourself. There is one that in the minds of your audience, they've naturally set for you, because they're like, this guy made this post that made me follow him. That means any other thing he creates after that has to be better than that.
Yeah.
And how everything now becomes a conflict. So it's all
that's why even before I especially for videos, before I post, I send my videos to 3 people.
Okay.
Because I know they don't deceive me. I send my videos to 3 people. If they tell me, okay, one can tell me, it's because they won't deceive me. If one can tell me, okay, it's actually nice, but that intro you should have made it more catchy or something. You understand? So I send the 3 of them. If they give me a go ahead to post, I post because I know, okay, yes, it's actually top notch. So that's how I'm able to.
They've certified it. Yeah. Okay. So now we're going into a different session, and this is called trivia. So it's a very new addition to the entire, system of the show. And basically, all you do is you mention 3 persons in your niche that you know that are really good and you learn from, and then you mention things you love about what they do and things you've learned from this person. So 3 persons from your niche, whether it's the male fashion industry or it can be anybody, but in the fashion industry, and then you sort of talk about the things you like about them and what you've learned from them.
Okay, so number 1 person I'll mention is Akinlolu.
Okay.
I don't know if you know him.
Yeah, the doctor.
Yeah, the doctor is like a major person in the fashion industry. He was the one that actually made me start what I'm doing right now, because when that was like in my first year in school, I used to check out this guy. Someone introduced me. It's like someone showed me his page. This guy, I like what he's doing. I like to do it. So that's why even my style, my kind of style, what I do, more suits and stuff. So, and I really like it's not his own. We've talked about consistency. His own kind of consistency is not like he doesn't post every day.
Yeah.
He posts like 2 or 3 times in a week, and that's it. And I really love that about him. And also his pictures are really, really clean. Any content he drops is top notch, like the highest quality. Everybody knows, okay, this is Akinlolu quality. So
the most recent one I saw was one that was dancing.
Is it what he dropped yesterday?
I think so. Yeah.
One Malta Guinness.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It was really good.
So it's one of my major source of inspirations. Another male fashion person is my guy Tokwe _O.
Yeah, okay.
It's really good because we have just like the same number of followers. This guy has 6K plus too, and his engagements are crazy. Like he gets engagement from followers, even from celebrities. Celebrities comment on his posts. Like it's really, really good. So I also learn a lot from Tokwe. And on the female side, Yechi, she's also my friend. She just finished from Covenant now.
Yeah.
And she's I YouTube. I knew Yechi started YouTube. Like she's really, she's very consistent. She's very, very consistent. So basically, most of them, their consistency has helped them and has brought them to where they are today. And I've learned a lot from them too.
All right. So what advice would you give for people who are really considering getting into the fashion content creating space? Like people have all these sort of weird passions where you want to be like you want to be the next big thing in that area. I don't know if you know this guy, Adam Gallagher.
No, I don't.
He's one was like the very first person I started noticing on this fashion thing when I was in school then, and it was then I started becoming really convenient with Instagram around 2011. And this guy had like maybe like 700k followers then.
Wow.
Yeah, because like now he has like maybe like 1.8 or something. And then there's this other guy, Blake Scott.
Yeah, I know Blake Scott.
Yeah, then Steven
Onoja.
Yeah. And you see those guys, and then someone just comes and says like, I want to be the next Steven Onoja. And I'm like, okay. So what is your plan to get there? So what advice would you have for this kind of person who want to just launch out and start competing with the top guns, right?
If you want to like start out, basically it's not just about you having this dream you want to be the next. It starts from the passion. Do you actually have the passion for this thing? Because most times money might not be forthcoming from whatever you are doing, but it's the passion that keeps driving you. So you need to look at it like, do I actually have the passion for this thing? If I'm not making money for some time from this thing, will I still keep going? So basically, you have to check yourself and do you have to have the passion and do you have the strength to be consistent? Because that's another thing. Because those top guns you are seeing there, it's consistency that took them there.
Like I was looking at Blake Scott's page, and this guy has more than like maybe 3,000 or 4,000 posts.
He's really, really consistent. The kind of camera he even uses to take his.
You understand? Like sometimes I see him crunch out like 4 to 5 reels like in a week.
I'm telling you, bro. So
you know, but then when I started following them, then I'm like, okay, I could. Okay, so when I first knew about that first guy, it was on Pinterest, and I'm like, why is this guy pictures flooding Pinterest as if it's something else? And then I eventually now found his Instagram. I'm like, oh, okay. And then later on, I just realized that his page, his content now dropped to about maybe like 90. He had like maybe like 500 then, and then now it has dropped to 90. So I don't know.
You archived these posts.
I don't even know. Like I just noticed that things reduced, but with the reduction, everything's still there right now. They're like top quality. So
probably that's what he did. He
you
just
understand?
to filter his content.
You understand? So you just see how people now prioritize so much of quality than just wanting to just crunch out. And at the same time, you see people who crunch out like the best quality consistently.
That's why there are sometimes I take some pictures and just leave it for just Insta story because I don't want it to be like I have this quality. I have this certain standard I've kept for my feed. So I'll just put it on my story. Let these people just take this instead of me post on my feed because my feed, anybody that comes to my page, that's what it sees.
Yeah, like that's like your office.
Yeah, that's like
as a content creator because someone is coming. That's like let me just say that's like your digital portfolio now because no matter what kind of field it is you are in, whether it is social media managing and all these extra things, right? You want to you've put your bio there that this is what you do.
Yeah.
What would certify that certified? What would certify that you are good at what you do or at that thing is what they see on your feed.
Yeah.
You understand?
Because even if you even reach out to a brand, the first thing they check is your feed. Don't check, okay, what does this guy put out? How well does his content do? So that's the first thing they look out for. So basically you need to give your feed a certain standard that you must not go lower than that.
All right. This is one question I've been longing to ask you ever since, the thought of having this talk started. And so I'm a person who, has one sort of style of dressing, right? Great t-shirt, jeans, and maybe ankle boots or something. But I know that there is this misconception that, if you're in the creative space and maybe like a tech sort of person, right? Just like Mark Zuckerberg or like, Steve Jobs, turtleneck, and black t-shirt and all those things. But what's your advice? Okay, just advise me now as a fashion, expert on how to just do this thing right. Because I know you can really style. Like there's this guy, I don't know his name. His name starts with IK or IG. I'm not too sure. He's a fashion guy like that too. And I've seen him style t-shirt, and I'm like, nah, this person is not just normal. He looks so good. And I'm like, okay, maybe I can pull that off. But then you see so many styles like that, and you're wondering, like, okay, is there a certain way someone has to dress, or you can balance all sort of types? Because I've seen you wear t-shirts also, and they're really good.
So basically, fashion first starts from comfort. You need to look for what makes you actually comfortable first.
Okay.
If this shirt is not comfortable for me, I won't wear here. So you need to first look for what makes you comfortable. Then next, you need to look for what suits your personal style. You've said about Zuckerberg and the likes. Zuckerberg wears that because it actually suits his personal. Most times people feel, okay, if you are a billionaire or something, you don't need to impress anybody again. So you just wear. So probably Zuckerberg has gotten to that kind of level that doesn't really need to impress anybody again. But still, you need to make it. You need to streamline it to your personal style. What do you actually like? I've always seen you wearing t-shirts. I know, okay, I already know that is your personal style. You shouldn't change it for anything if that's what you actually like. So that's how it should be.
Okay.
Me right now, I'm more of suits. But this pandemic has made me to be like really versatile and stuff. I now really do other types of fashion. But basically, I love suits and the corporate Probably it was because of his kind of school I went to wear corporate.
Yeah, like, that was like the worst 6 years of my life, having to wear tie. I'm telling you, honestly. But yeah, it's all good.
Yeah.
All right. Now, I really love this idea of, being able to learn from anybody whatsoever. And I've had encounters with people who I look up to, and from our discussion, I realized that there are some persons who feel too high up there and feel they can't learn from the person that is just upcoming, and it makes me very sad, because I'm like, don't you know what you're missing? Like, yeah, you've been there for like 10 years, and then someone is coming with a fresh mindset, with a fresh lookout, with a fresh perspective. Imagine if you sort of give that person some sort of audience, and then the person shares that idea with you, and you see that it can actually work because you've been there, you have the sort of experience. You can guide the person on how to go next. Like, I've legit had people come to my DMs and tell me, okay, that content you released was really good, but what if you do this? What if you do that? Right? And I'm not always too quick to turn it down, because I'm like, most of my best ideas, right, I've come from people's comments on my posts. In all honesty, most of my best videos have come from people suggesting that I do that particular video. So, what would be your advice to? I don't know if any Top Gun will listen to this. I'm just open. But what would be your advice to all the top persons? People who think they've really achieved and arrived on being normal, like being human to those that are below them. Because someone has 50k followers, right, and then you have like 5k, and then you feel that person you can learn from that person. What do you think?
First, I feel no matter your number of followers, you can actually learn from, because as you've said, there are actually people that reach out to me on the normal, like, come to my DM and say, bro, this thing you should have done it like this. You should have, and there are even people that even advise me on transitions to do for videos, bro. Mm-hmm. So I believe you can actually learn from. So my advice to the top guns there, I shouldn't turn down DMs that deals with advice. Normally they'll be getting 8 DMs and stuff, yeah. But they should check out their DMs from time to time, and always make sure that every advice from a younger person in the industry, they should take to it and stuff. So that would be my advice.
All right, so let's just run quickly into some rounding up sessions, right? Yeah. This has actually been interesting, because I want to know more about fashion from the creative aspect, because people just feel, oh, you're a creative person, forget fashion, right? Yeah. How long do you think it would take for a really natural conversation like this, to transform into something that becomes like a sensation to people? Because how all these sort of motivational talks, it happens now. And if you look at it very well, maybe something like that started from a very honest conversation like this, and then a person made one statement, and people just carve out only that statement and turns it into something else. And you're wondering, wait, but that is not the intention of that talk. And then, there's this way social media as a way of changing the message or changing the narrative. What can you say to that? When the intention of the person who made these things has become entirely taken out of place. Like, let's say you made a style video now, let's say for Bold, and then while working on the drinks and everything, maybe you made a statement, and then someone else picks only that statement and converts it into something else.
First, I'm really happy that kind of thing hasn't happened to me yet, and I know there's no way it won't happen.
Yeah,
there's no way it won't happen. So that's why I said you should, as a creative, you should have people you actually trust to show your content before you actually post. You should have just, if it can just be one person, like someone you confide in, and okay, bro, please can you help me check this out? Is there anything wrong? Is there anything I can remove from it? Is there anything that is not good, that my audience would like to see? So that's why I said I have 3 people I send my stuff to. Sometimes they'll tell me, this stuff you've done is not actually nice, change it or do something. So I feel everybody should have that kind of person or persons that they show their content to avoid that kind of stuff. It's not as if it won't happen, no, but when that kind of thing happens, I don't know how I'm going to handle it. But to prevent that, everybody should have that kind of person or persons they show their content to before they post, so that to avoid all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, like some sort of inner community, because outside the many followers, you still need to have those persons that, like when I started this podcast, there were some persons that every single episode, like there's this particular guy, Tosi, is a friend. He sends me almost an episode. Like he will just send me like one long, and then analyzing every single shot, every single style of conversation. Like, okay, maybe you can try this, you can try that, and it really helped me. Like it really transformed how I approached conversations like this. And I'm like, imagine if everybody had people like that. You would really go far. Because now you no longer have to worry about, okay, what I'm doing, is it good enough? Because now in your mind, you always, think about these things. But then when there's someone, it's not like you are seeking validation from the person, but you want to constantly be your better self. So you have someone who's like a check to help you see these things happen.
Yeah.
But has there been any time when maybe one of these persons probably said something that you felt was like offensive?
No, because if I wanted to take offense in anything, I won't send it to them.
Oh yeah.
Did you get?
Yeah, that makes sense.
If I wanted to take offense in anything else, I won't send it to them, because I know they will actually tell me the truth. Normally, the truth is bitter.
Yeah, it is.
It will pay you, but no, it's for your own good.
Yeah.
Go and change that.
All right. Okay, so there are some questions that like pop up on every episode, and this is like a constant check to creatives on the essential things, because as much as possible, this whole creative life came from some sort of idea or mindset, or the inner part of you. So you're trying to get this idea out, and then maybe let's say you're stuck, or you have this mental creative block that they call it, or you just don't know how to go about it, right? People don't try to check if it's a mental issue. They don't try to check if it's a decision. Maybe it's a I don't know how will I put it now, a personality trait or something that is hindering them from doing that. Like you find many like me now, I'm naturally a lazy person. In all honesty,
I don't look like that.
People think that hardworking guy, but when I find a window of opportunity in time that allows me to do a lot of things at a particular time, I take it. Like now, I have time to record like 7 episodes in one day. I take it. But then on some other days, I just want to sleep on the couch and not do anything. You get? So I realized about that about myself, and then I found a way to, create some sort of arc or a system around that, where I know that every day, make sure you release one piece of content on Instagram. Because I know the kind of person I am, I don't try to push it. So if I'm supposed to release the content today, and I know every day I'm supposed to release the content, then I try to just document all my ideas in advance. So when it's time to now create that thing, it won't be difficult. I'll just maybe look at the archive and bring out something. And that's why these questions are really important. So what would you say to creatives who think the only way to do things is to be spontaneous? Like the moment the idea is dropping, create it. Or would you advise them to plan ahead, document, and have like a content bank before every single content comes out? Or you think they'll probably mix both of them?
Everybody is different. For me now, it's like a mix of everything you said. Everybody's different. Sometimes I get like content inspirations. That's why I told you I use my notepad a lot.
Yeah,
I type them down so I don't forget, because it happens to me many times when something I can just be sitting down and one content inspiration can just come and the next minute I'll forget. So I started like noting them down so I won't forget, and later when I have time to create, I create. And so many times, because as you said, you are naturally a lazy person. I'm also a lazy person. Yeah, so most times when I have like the urge to create, I can create for like 2 weeks in one day. So from time to time I just edit and start dishing it out and like that. So I'll just advise everyone to just do what works for you. If you creating spontaneously doesn't work for you, don't do it. So that you don't end up breaking down. And you understand? So basically what works for you, know yourself. You need to know yourself first. Know yourself and do what works for you.
All right. Well, that was really good, because know yourself. It sounds so cliche. Like anytime you ask somebody, advise me on how to, do this and do that, they always start with that, know yourself and, be hardworking. Like, how, let's say you meet someone who you really, admire, someone who is really good or is in, one of the top people in the industry. Okay, let's say, for example, now, let's say you go for Ibadan Fashion Week and then let's say what's his name again? Akinfamino. Let's say he comes and then you ask him, "Oh man, your works are really great. Like, how do you do it?" And he's like, "Be hardworking, be consistent." And I'm like, "Wait,
all these things you know it before."
Every time be consistent or hardworking, right? And it seems like they're just trying to just belittle the entire process, but that's the very simple truth. That's what you should actually do to get these things right?
Yeah.
So when you now hear all those kind of things, like in your mind, you're like, what's all this one like this?
But self-discovery is actually very important. So many people don't know their self.
Yeah.
So when you know yourself, that's when you know what works for you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the...
All right. So just to round up, if you give any advice, I know this is like one of the cliches to ending a podcast or a session like this, but if you give any advice to yourself, like let's say 3 years ago, on how to go about everything you're doing right now, what would that advice be? So it's like you're looking back at Akin 3 years ago and you're like, this is what you should do.
I would have advised myself to start earlier. If I knew, I would have started earlier, and I know I would have been better today. So to everyone out there who has that idea in mind that hasn't been developed or that hasn't made that move, should start now. The best time to start anything is now.
Yeah.
So I would have advised myself to have started what I'm doing earlier.
I think I would have said the same thing too, because imagine if I had started this podcast like 2017 or 2016.
Yeah.
Man,
it's have been blown by now.
I'm telling you, like I had ideas to start out YouTube in 2015, because I had just finished BSc then, and I was like, what can I do with my life? So imagine, and I had a camera then, like a really good camera, and I had my own apartment because I was doing masters. So I'm like, imagine if I've been doing videos since then. Like now, probably I have like maybe 500k
followers.
Well, yeah, that's just by the way. All right, to rounding up, if people love to find you and the things you do, like let's say someone wants to know more about Akinlolu Certified now, where should the person go to?
Okay, basically you can check out my Instagram at akinlolu.certified. My Twitter is akinlolu_certi. Then I had one website, but I no longer use it. akinlolucertified.wordpress.com.
Okay.
Yeah, so
that's everything.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
Everything you need to see is on my bio, my Instagram bio. I have my link tree and everything there. So
all right, wow, awesome. Thank you so much for doing this, man. I really appreciate it.
Welcome, bro.